Here's a question, and I want to bring in a couple other folks to help us here. The GOP, again, from the outside looking in, does look like a rudderless ship, maybe a leaderless ship. And it was just only 5 years ago that the party was celebrating its young guns, right? You had Eric Cantor. He was the leader. You had Paul Ryan. He was called the thinker. Yep. Kevin McCarthy. Right. He was the strategist. But, of course, it didn't take long before the grassroots felt that, hey, these guys, they folded in with the establishment. Either they were lured by power or they wanted to gain favor, whatever it is. Then the unthinkable happened. The leader, Eric Cantor, lost his seat. It was one of the biggest congressional upsets in history. Of course, Representative Brat, you were the one who took it from him. And since then, there has been a growing debate over the direction of the party. Now, here's what a lot of folks are worried about in the party and a lot of Republican voters. Will it eventually either heal the GOP or hand the White House to the Democrats? What I want to do now is join the conversation, bring in Peggy Lee, Democratic strategist, also former senior advisor to Senator Harry Reid, and Mercedes Schlapp. Mercedes, I want to go with you. You're former Bush spokesperson. He is part of the old establishment. Do you see a seismic shift here? And what will be left when it's all said and done? Will we have this Abraham Lincoln kind of thing? A house divided, can it stand or can it heal itself?
Look, Charles, I think it's a healthy debate. I think it's important for this party to have this debate. I think it's important for conservatives and moderates to come together. And the key here is, and as Congressman Brat knows this, is finding that leader that's able to bridge that gap, that's able to bring conservatives and moderates together, where the conservatives really feel that they are being listened to, that they are not being ruled by an iron fist. And that's where I think that I think the party's going to go. And I think shaking this all up on the Hill, I think this is a good thing. It's part of the family. You know, we're not all going to agree. But we all know that the conservatives at this point have a strong voice. They're making their voices heard, making a strong statement. And I think that you're going to see how you're going to find a leader that's going to be able to bridge that gap.
Penny Lee, are the Democrats sitting back there saying, OK, between Kevin McCarthy's major gaffe, which probably cost him this job, and the infighting that the rest of the world perceives or sees, maybe this makes Hillary's run to the White House just that much easier?
Look, there's a long time between now and November of 2016. But yes, what you're starting to see is a party in chaos. And unlike what the congressman did say, I mean, they were elected. I mean, part of their whole mantra to win the majorityship was that they could govern. And what you've seen proven time and time again is that they can. Speaker Boehner wasn't even able to control. He was what? You were not able to control to get the bills without Democrats. Without Democrats.
Ladies, hold on one second, because I want to bring in Representative
pretty quick here.
Brad. Representative Brad, I want to bring in. First of all, I want you to know personally, I cheered when you won. I thought it was an amazing upset, and I think the American public cheered. But I think Penny hit on something. A lot hasn't changed since the Republicans were handed a majority in November, and since you created this ripple, which has now become a tidal wave, still not a lot has changed.
Yeah, hey, let me give you a little clue on how I can help you there. There's not been a lot changed in the last 4 years. Our party leadership, John Boehner and Eric Cantor and the Young Guns, wrote a document called the Pledge to America. The Pledge to America said no to amnesty. We're going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to balance the budget. Let me give you a few facts. I taught economics for 20 years, worked at the World Bank to help the poorest in the world. We have $19 trillion in debt, over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities. We got some major problems. College kids can't find jobs. Russia's dropping bombs on Syria. The Republican spokeswoman who just spoke is in favor. When you got the Democrats saying the Republicans are in disarray, I just refer you back to the Pledge to America that was written by John Boehner and Eric Cantor when they were running for office. What we're trying to do is keep true to the American people on the promises we made and follow through on those pledges when we govern. And that's all the American people want.
Let me throw some names at you. You tell me who the person is out there right now that can make that has those principles that you've talked about. Is it Dan Webster? Is it Trey Gowdy? Is it Paul Ryan? Is it Jim Jordan? Is it Lynn Westmoreland? Is it Chaffetz? Hey, Newt Gingrich just moments ago said, if you need, he'll come back and be the speaker.
Right. And hey, and that's the simple thing. We're a nation of laws, not of men. There's principles. All any of those folks have to do is say, hey, all members of Congress should be treated equally. We're going to move toward regular order. We're going to govern from the bottom up. Chairmen are going to be in charge of their committees. And it's that simple. It's nothing radical. There's no crisis going on up here. The country's doing well. I heard you guys say the stock market's up today. That's a pretty good arbiter of what's going on. The rest is a bunch of political drama created by the political class up here. Politico and everyone said it was already done, right? Certain folks had the election locked up yesterday. Well, it looks like Politico and whoever wrote that story, I mean, are they writing news,
you know what?
or are they writing op-eds?
To your point, they've been wrong about a lot of things, including your election. You're upset, but Mercedes, I've got to ask you this, though,
so
Mercedes.
there's reality and then there's fiction, right?
Sure. Is this all just about the pettiness of leadership, or is there something more seismic going on within the GOP? Is this the moment when the anti-establishment makes its move, not just to have his voice heard, but to be in control?
Let me tell you, this is bigger and broader. I'll tell you why. Yeah. Because constituents are calling on the Hill and saying, do not vote for McCarthy. We need someone who is not part of the Boehner leadership team. They want an outsider. Goodness gracious, doesn't this sound familiar? It sounds like we're talking about the presidential race. There is a real movement out there against the typical politicians, which is why Congressman Brat, who did not come from a political background, did so well in his election, obviously ousting Eric Cantor. Right. And you have that going on. It is a movement that is growing. It's in our country, especially amongst the GOP primary voters.
And, Penny, real quick, we're running out of time, but this is sort of reverberating also on the Democratic side. Bernie Sanders, in my mind, is no fluke, and Joe Biden is being wooed to come in because Hillary is a flawed establishment candidate.
Well, let's not forget Joe Biden is an established candidate as well. But yes, you have some angst out there, and people are trying to look to see, are there alternatives from what they know as a status, from someone that they've always known. And so, sure, this is the time when people are exploring those different options. So no one is surprised on that. I think, but to Mercedes' point that the outsiders want to get in is the question is going to fundamentally be, can they govern? Once they get in, can they govern?
And what
you're seeing is the intransience in the House not being able to.
I've got 20 seconds left, and I want to go back to the congressman here. H.R. 702, lifting the ban on oil. I think there's going to be a vote on that. You co-sponsored it. Is that going to make it through? Will we finally be able to export oil and other petroleum products from this country?
Yes, hopefully so. And to the Democrats' point, can we govern? Governing doesn't mean always increasing the size of government. Governing can at times mean balancing the budget. Our side is in favor of that. The Democrats never mentioned that point.
All right, guys, let's leave it there.
You were Gingrich and pressure all the way.
That was fantastic. Representative Brat,
that's good teamwork.
Congratulations. Take another victory lap and then come back tomorrow and get back to work. We need you.
Thank you much.